Жижа.
This sound is heard about 5 times daily in most cities around the world. Someone in the faithful to pray. This is the hallmark of one of the world's greatest religions, Islam. Islam has not only become the fastest growing religion in the world, but is equally vilified and treated with much suspicion by those who do not understand it. This week, we take an inside look into one of the great religions of the world that has helped shape the course of history. With over 1.5 billion contributing Muslims across the globe, Islam is easily identified by the dressing of its adherents, the architecture of its mosques, and the distinct method of prayer and recitation that echo across most of the world. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. There is everything. Islam is the religion of institution. Islam is the religion of Ar-Rahman It means being humble, submissive, hiding your feelings, hiding yourself, submitting yourself to the will of God. When you follow what God commands you, you automatically become a Muslim. For those in the know, it is common knowledge that Islam is the most prevalent religious system in Africa. The factors that influence this growth are a direct combination of its synergy with the indigenous traditions of our continent. Islam first came into Africa during the first century of Islam. Because when the Muslims were persecuted in Mecca, some of them they migrated to Ethiopia. At that time it was known as Abyssinia, where there was King Nekas. And at that time when it came before other religions of the world, right? And which is why today Africa, the majority of the people in Africa, they are Muslims. So it came in the first century. In the east coast, sub-Saharan Africa, it came through traders in the east coast of Africa. You're talking of Zanzibar, Kenya, and then they trickled down to us here in Zimbabwe, the southern part of Africa. The belief system and practice of Islam is anchored on 5 core and irrefutable principles that every believer has to adhere to. First pillar is belief in one God, and his prophets, including Prophet Muhammad, who is the last prophet. He came in the long line of prophets with the same message of worshiping one God. The second pillar is prayer, which we refer to in Arabic as salah, which is praying 5 times a day at fixed times of the day, which details are detailed in Islamic books of jurisprudence. And then the third pillar is zakat, which is referred to as the poor Jew, whereby the rich give 2.5% of their savings to the poor at the end of the year. And then we've got Hajj, which is a pillar whereby we go to make our pilgrimage where Muslim goes, he sacrifices his wealth and the time, and he goes there to worship God, to do some Islamic rites of worship. And then we've got the other pillar of fasting, which we fast in the pointed out there in the 9th month of the lunar calendar, the Islamic calendar, whereby we use the moon. So we fast for 29 days or 30 days in worshiping and submission to God.
Although they are a minority in Zimbabwe, Muslims have maintained a distinct presence that cannot go unnoticed. Muslims are best known for worshipping in mosques, and in Zimbabwe, there are mosques located in nearly all of the larger towns, with the capital city Harare having 18 mosques. Bulawayo has 8 mosques. The largest mosque completed in 1982 in Harare's suburban Ridgeview can hold 2,000 people, a reflection of the growing needs of Islam in the country.
Islam, at the same time, requires every man to stay away from anything that contradicts God, Him being the supreme creator of everything.
Knowing who you are in Christ Jesus, stand to fight and win the battle.
Even to think of it, it is very scary when you feel I need to go and do this and this and all of the time. I have to pray and ask the Lord. When you go to the Lord, I think that is when if you die to self and things and die back.
I'm not going to dress
So we think we're going to support once again with bringing different topics that are affecting people's life on a daily basis.
ZPC TV, the pioneers of local content.
Central to Islam are the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad that are found in the Quran. Islam, like all the other major religions in the world, is a book-based religion with the Quran as its text. The Quran is the literal word of Allah revealed to the Prophet Muhammad through the angel Gabriel. To the faithful, Prophet Muhammad is the last prophet sent by Allah, and coincidentally, Islam acknowledges other prophets from Judaism as well as Christianity, such as Adam, Noah, Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Moses, David, Solomon, and Jesus. Allah appointed prophets to communicate and demonstrate this message to all of mankind. Muslims believe that none of the prophets possessed any form of divinity and therefore could not be worshipped.
Quran is the complete book. It has come with the complete religion, and nothing is to be added into it, and nothing can be subtracted from it. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was told that we have completed the entire religion for you, and nothing will be added, and nothing can be subtracted. So we have been given the complete code of life and code of conduct for entire mankind until the final hour. So no more prophets to come. Yes, what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and what the Quran has said will occur. It definitely, some of it has already occurred, and what is to occur will definitely still occur.
Being a monotheistic religion, Islam acknowledges Allah, a name denoting the one and only God. Allah is the Arabic name for the Almighty God, a combination of two words, Al meaning He and Allah meaning God. In Islam, God does not have any partner, nor is He part of the Trinity, and is ascribed perfection as the Almighty with no equal or son. Nothing and no one else can be called Allah.
Muhammad is the greatest man in history, and this fact has been expressed by even other non-Muslims. They've expressed and acknowledged this. We've got philosophers like Lamartine and George Bernard Shaw and all these other people. They acknowledge that. So to us, he's our prophet who came with the message of Islam. So God chose him, and He revealed the message of Islam to him the Quran, and through this Quran, which is a constitution in our lives, which changes our lives and controls our lives, he conveyed that message. So he's a great prophet. He came with this message. He's our guide. So everything that happens in Islam is through his guidance. In a short period of time, of 23 years of his message and prophethood, he had changed the outlook of the Arabs. Before that, the Arabs were a wild race, a wild nation whom no one wanted to rule even, because they were Bedouins, they were free-willed, with a free spirit, and no one could control them. But because of the Quran, he tamed them, he changed their belief and outlook, that they became the best nation, and afterwards, other nations benefited from Islam.
Muslims ascribe to strict health standards, and these are found in the Quran. This brings to the fore the concepts of halal. Generally, most foods are halal or lawful and are permitted by God for Muslims to consume. So important is the concept of halal in the Muslim's diet that it even prescribes a certain method of slaughter of animals before they are consumed. Muslims are forbidden to consume pork and alcohol.
The word haram, it means prohibited, something that's not allowed or permissible. So basically this is from Islamic law, of Islamic teachings, whereby God dictates and says this such a thing is not permissible. And when he does that, it's for the benefit of the human being. He doesn't just say this is prohibited willy-nilly, or Islam doesn't just pick out things and say, okay, this is prohibited for no reason. You talked of pork. Pork is prohibited, yes, it's true, it's haram, because firstly, God commanded us to leave it. And also from a scientific point of view, pork has got a lot of diseases. If you consume pork, these are there, we know in the papers, there's a disease of swine flu, which is a scourge and a threat to health. And also, the pork itself, the pig digests quickly its food. In 4 hours, it's done. So that means that the waste and the toxins in the food are not removed. So if you consume that, you will be at the danger of being exposed to those toxins. As in contrast to, for example, a cow takes 24 hours to digest. So when it digests, it cleans out all those toxins and the harmful substances. So when you eat beef, you are safe, you're okay, because the harmful substances have been taken out. But when you eat pork, you are in danger, and a lot of diseases are in pork scientifically. And also, if we look at the issue of, for example, illegal sexual intercourse, which we call zina, it's prohibited because it protects the social fabric of the society. Imagine if someone has got a wife, and then someone else goes and sleeps with that wife, and they have a child, and that child is attributed to that man who doesn't know. It tears away the society. So Islam has these safeguards and say, look, you want a society which is clean, which is moral, which is pure. So that's where when God comes in with this command and say, such a thing is not prohibited, it's not allowed.
Primary language of Islam is Arabic. The Quran only exists in a language in which it was revealed, Arabic. However, the translation of the Quran is available in many languages, including Shona. The Quran was not revealed or sent down as a complete book. Rather, the revelation spanned over a period of 23 years. In this regard, for one to have a proper understanding of the Quran, one has to understand the circumstances and the context of the verses as they were revealed.
Language of Islam is indeed Arabic, because our scriptures came in Arabic. The original Quran is in Arabic. Actually, with the original manuscript also still available in Arabic. And then with the teachings of the Prophet, which were recorded also in Arabic. So it's very important. But in also for accessibility, we have the Quran translated into other languages. We've got a translated copy of Shona, which we give to people. We also have got translated copies of English we give to the people. But this is just to aid in understanding. So if you want to, the original, you can learn Arabic, which we also teach you Arabic. So Arabic really plays an important role in the religion, in that the major teachings of the religion are in Arabic.
The distinctive apparel that is donned by Muslims across the world is a reflection of their primary beliefs on dress and deportment. Much has been said about dressing, especially with regards to Muslim women and their supposedly strict dress code known as the hijab. The principle of the hijab encompasses noble speech, modesty, dignified conduct, and manners which are required of both men and women.
Definition of Islam, I think we've defined Islam as a Muslim is submitting, is humbly submitting to the commands of the Almighty in the heaven. So a Muslim woman is submitting to what his Creator has commanded her, that she's supposed to cover her body. It's the Creator who knows that. The Creator who knows that the body of a woman is attractive. That's the way it's supposed to express herself. She's supposed to express herself to the requirements that the one who has created her has told.
If I'm at home, if I'm with my family, like my husband, my in-laws, my brothers, and my father, I can take off my scarf, but I should dress decently. But when going out now where strangers are, I should cover myself to protect myself.
Islam doesn't have a specific dressing, but Islam prescribes certain portions of the body for both sexes to be covered. Islam doesn't look at the physical aspect of the woman only. It looks at the physical aspect, the social aspect, and the spiritual aspect.
The argument that the hijab style of dressing is a man-made construct has been a point of conflict, especially in the Western world, where some governments, such as the Netherlands and France, have gone as far as banning the burqa, a full-face veil that is worn by Muslim women. To Muslims, however, the principles of Islamic dress are of divine origin.
The way I'm dressed is called hijab. Hijab comes from the Arabic word hajaba, meaning to conceal or to cover. So every woman should cover the way I'm covered, with the exception of my face and hands, and I feel comfortable with it. I'm well protected.
However, the dress code is said to be contextual, and according to Muslims, the hijab does not in any way suggest that women are inferior to men.
Well, it's not a symbol of oppression. I'm not being oppressed. I wear it because I'm empowered, and it is obedience, since it is a command from God. So it is not worn with the intention of intimidation or antisocial. No, I just feel protected like this.
Welcome to Economic Forum, your weekly program that covers all economic-related issues.
Other countries that have achieved huge steps forward have worked at these basic concepts in their indigenous languages, not in foreign languages.
We believe that an empowered journalist is less likely to be swayed by corruption.
Any land where somebody is demanding money for you to get it, you must then know that something is wrong, because all this land is free.
Some people get mistaken. They think we command the people to grow. No. People volunteer to come onto the scheme, and we don't force people to grow what they don't want to grow.
ZBCTV, the pioneers of local content.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله.
1.5 billion Muslims populate the globe, with each follower desirous to make a pilgrimage to Mecca, the most familiar symbol of Islam. The pilgrimage to Mecca represents the fulfillment of each Muslim's desire to at least visit the monument once in their lives. This practice began about 1,400 years after the Prophet Muhammad made his first pilgrimage that began this noble tradition.
This small chapter of the Quran is the first chapter, and it is the chapter that is recited by every believer in every prayer, not less than 17 times a day. A Muslim recites this surah, this chapter, in his prayers on a daily basis. In a saying of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he says, when a worshipper actually recites these verses in his prayer, God replies to every single verse. So when he says the first verse, praise be to God, the Lord of the worlds, God actually replies and he says, my worshipper has praised me. and so on. In every verse he goes on replying to every statement that the worshipper makes, and this brings the close connection between worshipper and God himself.
The institution of marriage is held in high regard in the Quran. Marriage in Islam follows the principle given to the Prophet as revelation, thereby setting guidelines and ensuring that there are no oppressive tendencies in the marriage union. The Prophet Muhammad, who himself was a polygamist, received a revelation that allows Muslim men to practice polygamy.
If someone is married to a Muslim and she is not a Muslim, right? She is not forced to become a Muslim. It's her own choice. She has to make a choice to believe that there is no other God to be worshipped except one God, and to believe that Prophet Muhammad is one of his messengers.
However, Islam does have prohibitions, as some marriage unions are not allowed on the basis of religion. The maintenance of religious purity and posterity seems to take center stage.
It's not allowed for a non-Muslim man to marry a Muslim lady. The relationship between a wife and a husband is usually that the wife has to follow the rules of the house. The wife has to follow the rules of the husband. This is to safeguard them to that situation whereby we don't know the situation where she's going. Will she be allowed to have a choice to remain going to her religion, or will she be forced to enter into that religion?
The treatment of money and wealth in Islam follows certain key principles that set apart Muslim enterprise from the conventional financial system. Key to Islamic finance is the prohibition of interest, speculation, and the engagement in immoral businesses in accordance with Sharia law.
When doing business, a Muslim firstly has to be honest and straightforward, so he's not involved in cheating. So these are the principles, the guidelines that we follow.
According to the World Bank, Sharia-compliant financial assets are estimated at roughly $2 trillion, making Islamic finance a growing influence in the world economy. With Friday being their main day of prayer, Muslims project a remarkable level of humility and piety as they prepare to worship. Before entering the mosque, worshippers remove all footwear, followed by the process of physical cleansing with the symbolic washing of hands, feet, and the face, symbolizing physical purity before entering the mosque for the attainment of spiritual cleansing and worship. Notably, during the worship services, men and women worship in different parts of the mosque. The women are given a separate accommodation that allows them to witness the service among themselves, while the men occupy the main arena. The methodical process of prayer instills humility and allows worshippers to humble themselves before Allah. Allahu, Allahu, Ya Rabbi, Ya Allah. Allahu, Ya Rabbi, Ya Allah.
Now that is the opening of the prayer. We Muslims, when we are praying, we say Allah is the greatest. When the moment he raises his hands, it means that he has left all the worldly thinkings, he's now focusing, talking to the Creator. This is the line of the followers, and this is the leader who will be leading the prayers. And these people will be following what the leader will be reading. Right now he has read the opening chapter. That one is compulsory in our religion. In every prayer that we pray, that we should read it in another verse.
Islam places importance on education and the attainment of knowledge and wisdom. In this regard, the Muslim community in Harare established the New Hope Center in downtown Harare, which is open to the public to enlighten those with curiosity about Islam.
Say Islam is the reading of education, because the first verse which Muhammad was read. So actually Islam focuses on reading, writing, education. So a Muslim has to be well versed about the commandments of his religion, because we say the Quran is a instruction manual or a constitution for a Muslim. So for you to know what's in the Constitution, to read it and know it, so it is paramount for a Muslim to know. So firstly, we look at the religious education. So as a young Muslim, when you're born, you also learn Arabic, how to read the Quran, you know, the teachings in there. Then you go to institutions like this one, New Hope. Here we teach the Quran, we teach Arabic language, we teach Islamic jurisprudence, which are the laws of Islam. How do we pray, how do we fast, how do we relate to each other, how do we marry, how do we divorce, and all these things we teach them. And then we also teach the interpretation of the Quran, because this is our constitution, so we have to teach. So among other subjects, we cover all these areas.
What is tragic, though, is that over the past 2 decades, Islam has been associated with appalling cases of jihad terror attacks on non-Muslims and Muslims alike. The perpetrators of these heinous acts invoke the name of Allah as they enact the wrath of Allah on the besieged infidels. This has had the ripple effect of tarnishing the image of all Muslims, with the majority of them being treated with contempt and suspicion.
So evidently, these people, they are not in line with the Islamic teachings. So what they are doing does not conform to the Quran, our scriptures, because they are killing people willy-nilly. They just buy guns, they shoot people, they blow themselves up, suicide bombers. So they do not represent Islam. And some of it is not religious, actually it's political, because if you look at the situation of Iraq, in Iraq before 1996, if you look at the history of Iraq from where the Iraq started or where they got independence to 1996, not even a single suicide bomb was blown, not even one suicide bomb. But after 1996, after the invasion by the foreign forces, that's when you have these suicide bombs happening. So it means actually it's a political issue. So sometimes it's linked to politics, sometimes it's linked to people with just an extreme violent ideology, but it's far and divorced away from our system. So we look at this with the outlaws. They are not part of the teachings of Islam. They even cause harm to the Muslims. And then when you go to an airport, they're wearing these clothes, people are not comfortable. You know, they are causing problems for Islam.
The Quran, however, teaches peace and denounces inciting terror in the hearts of defenseless civilians and also destruction of property. If an individual Muslim were to commit an act of terror, he will be guilty of violating the laws of Islam.
Well, in Zimbabwe, we follow the constitution and we follow the law of the land, because we're a minority. But in Saudi Arabia, that's where they can apply Sharia. Here it won't apply. But here, where the Sharia law doesn't apply, we also have got the freedom of religion. But when the aspect of the constitution of the land, the law of the land, I follow it. The land says everyone must have an ID. Then we have the ID. Everyone must be in school from the age of 7 to 16. Then I'll go to school and also appreciate the fact that I can worship here, I can wear what I want, there's freedom of religion. So I worship and I show and I justify